Hello, I'm Claire. I'm the author and creator of Hamish and Milo, and I'm really delighted to be able to share this discovery training session with you to give you an overview about our programme, approach and resources. So let me just share my screen and just take you through the presentation. It really is a pleasure to be able to share how we developed Hamish and Milo. And Hamish is our little dog here, and Milo is the cat. And I think it was really born out of a desire to make a big difference to children's social emotional development and their well-being. And what we really felt was that there was a huge need for children to be taught social emotional skills in a nurturing way, in a way that really enables them to feel safe and secure and to feel really happier at school, to feel really listened to, and to have the opportunity to talk about their experiences, their emotions, their lives, and what's happening for them from their own perspective. And also to feel connected. So happier, heard and connected, the connection is the relationships. And that we know is so important for children's development, their emotional well-being and their safety in coming to school. So Hamish and Milo really is very much about providing resources for primary age children. We wanted to ensure that everything that you need to be able to deliver a 10-week programme around key emotion themes such as angry feelings or sad feelings or anxiety or even change and transition, that you would have everything available to you in a box and ready to go. So our Hamish and Milo mission, as I've already highlighted, is that we really want to target the key children, the most vulnerable children really that have mental health needs, the 1 in 5 now, as the NHS digital profile tells us. And I think sadly, the numbers are growing. As I've said already, we wanted to provide schools with a complete toolkit, all of the programs. We want to offer training. We want to support the adults working with our young people in order that they feel secure and confident, and that will make the biggest outcome for children too. So we know it's pastoral leads, it's Senkos, ELSAs, TAs, mental health champions who very much are at the front line in working with our young people. And it's these key people that we want to support. We know that promoting emotional health and well-being is absolutely about a whole school approach, and the Public Health England document really highlights this, and we believe that Hamish and Milo sits very firmly within this whole school approach. It's very much about leadership and management and really having an ethos that we create in terms of supporting children's social emotional development and their mental health. We know too it's about having really specific and explicit curriculums around emotions, around PSHE, and being brave enough to have those conversations that really matter for children that have higher levels of need, have social emotional needs within their experiences of life. And we want to make sure that we are very clearly teaching through a progression and programme of study. We know that it's also about enabling children to feel heard. So children's voice is hugely important within Hamish and Milo in this programme. We want to support the staff as well and to develop CPD, and we have training programs. We have an accredited level 3 training program that our staff can come on to be able to develop their confidence. And we also want to equip them with the means to be able to identify and monitor the impact. So we have digital profiling tools and we have a way of showing the impact. We also know that we have to support not only that universal strand for children that need PSHE as part of their core curriculum, but also we need targeted intervention so that we're really supporting those children that have that greater level of need to have access to these skills and this learning. And working with parents, we very much want to open that dialogue, that partnership, working with parents, and we give them really clear information around the key themes, the emotion themes that we're working with, as well as now having a Families Together programme in its own right, which is a 10-week programme, which follows alongside the core Hamish and Milo programme for children. So these are the 10 themes that we have. We have actions, words and me, which is obviously about conflict resolution and really looks at understanding two sides of any one perspective, beginning to understand listening skills and develop empathy to be able to problem solve. Celebrating Me is the purple one, and this is about diversity and inclusion, and very much is about anti-bullying work, anti-stereotype work, and anti-discrimination, but very much about celebrating all aspects of the community, thinking about disability, thinking about race, culture, thinking about LGBTQ+, thinking about neurodiversity, and really understanding what it feels like when I feel different, when I don't fit in, and really having the dialogue around that so that children don't feel alone with that, because actually many of us can feel like that. So that sense of belonging is huge within Celebrating Me. Resilient Me is the next one, the blue one, and this of course is very much what it says, but I think resilience is often misunderstood. People say children are able to bounce back, and actually what we know is that very often they might mask those feelings, they suppress feelings, they don't often ask for help. And I think resilience is actually about having key relationships, people that you go to, people that inspire you, people that empower you, and people that enable you to overcome obstacles along the path. So this is very much about communication skills as well as problem solving, reaching for goals, overcoming obstacles, but also recognizing who supports me to be able to develop that sense of inner strength and determination. Calm Me is the teal colour one, and obviously is around anxiety. This is a huge area. Emotional school-based avoidance has never been so high. It's been a picture that's been growing, but actually now we have so many children anxious to come to school. Sometimes it's not what's wrong with the child, it's actually what's wrong with the system. And actually many children are struggling to have to counteract that feeling of failure or not being good enough, or worried about the expectation and the pressure that sadly we have for so many of our children. Often children might not want to leave their parents. There is a whole range of reasons why we can feel anxious. And Calm Me is very much about giving the psychoeducation, helping children understand what's happening in my body and my brain when I feel anxious, talking about the fight flight and our amazing brain, how it works, where are the sensations in my body, and then learning ways to be able to manage and cope and overcome anxious feelings. So we look at some feelings around worry monsters, we look at some visualization and mindfulness. We also look at ways of expressing worries as well as thought challenging. So there's a whole range within that 10-week program. Finding Me is sadness. This is the blue one. And I think sadness is an area that we often kind of brush over. We try to jolly children up or cheer them up, and we don't often allow them to sit with sadness or have permission to be sad. And sadly, we know that many of our children do present with sadness or even clinical depression in our primary schools. So we do have to do this work to give them permission to talk about it, to know they're not alone with feeling sad, and also then learn ways to be able to communicate that and to be able to release some of those feelings. So that's a really powerful 10-week program. New Beginnings in Me, the green one, is about change and transition. And this is very important at the end of a year, beginning of a new year, but actually change happens in the middle of a week. It happens when we least expect it. It can be unexpected, unwanted. It can be something that can be frightening, but also it can bring anticipation. So uncertainty is a very, very difficult emotion for us as humans to manage. So we need to help children plan for it, to be able to respond to it, to know who can support them with change. So again, a big program where we look at saying goodbye as well as being able to say hello and to be able to have aspiration and hopes again. Memories of Me is about loss and bereavement, and obviously very much looks at the range of losses that we might have. If you don't see a parent so often anymore, there's a huge loss there. Again, bereavement could relate to a pet, could relate to a member of the family. So again, there's a whole range within Memories of Me, and it's really about trying to very sensitively enable children to talk about, to begin to form their memories and enable their memories, because this is a way of beginning to heal. So Memories of Me, again, a 10-week program. All of these programs can be done in small groups, but sometimes they might lend themselves more to one-to-one, and often Memories of Me is one that's done one-to-one. But if you can do that with 2 or 3 children that have experienced losses of any description, it can really help that feeling of not being alone, and that, you know, there's a real relief in knowing that others feel as I do too. Amazing Me is our orange one. This is a very, very powerful program. It's kind of the foundation. I think everything sits on self-esteem, and if you don't know where to start, self-esteem is a very good one to start with. It looks at kind of how I take care of myself, how I nurture myself as well, and also how I really celebrate the special uniqueness of me. It also empowers us, so we're able to say no, to be able to put boundaries in, and to become assertive so that we take care of ourselves, and then start to have that internalization of I'm proud of me and I matter. My Friends and Me is very much about friendship, as it says, but this also is about not just when our friendships are going well and what makes a good friend, but what happens when my friend hurts me, when I feel let down, betrayed by my friend. So instead of jollying children along again or saying, oh, just ignore them for now, or I'm sure you'll be friends tomorrow, we need to empower them to say, I feel when you and I need. Or I really enjoyed playing with you, but I'd like to play with someone else today. It's about really starting to develop those skills of communication, which is absolutely necessary for relationships lifelong. And the final 10-week program is Exploding Me. Strong emotions, angry feelings, frustration. Many children feel mad, bad, in trouble if they are angry. It's a feeling that it gives us as adults a sense of fear in knowing how to manage it. So sadly, it escalates, or we deal with it really harshly often. And we need to give children permission to be angry, to then know that actually it's a very normal emotion. We talk about one activity, which is the inner guard dog, almost like it's barking when it's cross, because it's feeling threat. So it's a threat response, and we really help children understand what's happening again in my body, my brain, when I feel angry, learning to recognize the triggers, the sensations, and what's happening, and then learning how to express it safely. So it's again a very powerful 10-week program. In each of our boxes, we have a whole range of elements. We have a guidance booklet, we have 10 session plans, which are very detailed and give the context around the subject area, and also detail in how you teach these sometimes quite more complex concepts for children. But those session plans are very, very clear for you to follow. There are child wellbeing profiles, which is a pre and post measure, which really looks at theme specific kind of behaviors, presenting behaviors, and then looks at a way that you can see shifts and changes and track those changes. Parent carer booklets are also within each of the boxes and each of the packs, and they really give you the opportunity to open that dialogue with parents so that parents understand that all of these feelings are normal feelings, and that it's not that their child has a difficulty necessarily. It's about the fact that let's help children understand and let's talk about, and then this is what you might like to do and say at home. We have a range of stickers, certificates, and little wellbeing journals as well that all of the boxes have. And those children can have those stickers each session to be able to feel a sense of value and being able to feel that real sense of self-worth. Every single box comes with a sock puppet craft kit. We encourage all of the children to make their own sock puppet kits. And also you will see that there is an extra one for the adult as well, because we want the adult to model it and to really enter into that playfulness and that creativity with the children. So the sock puppets are very much an integral part of the whole resource. We offer training and supervision, and we do run these sessions fortnightly, our explorers and our discoveries, which give you a much greater detail about the program and the implementation of it. We also have a resource hub, which enables you to be able to download any additional resources, such as templates of a star, or if you need a template for a rocket, for example, you can download that from our hub. There are also things such as suggested book lists and even access to videos to support you in delivering these programs. Our theoretical context is really illustrated through our beautiful lighthouse. Each one of those layers really covers the core theoretical framework that underpins Hamish and Milo. This has been done through much thought, research, and an evidence base to ensure that we really are developing children's social and emotional skills and competencies. So we really do focus in on attachment theory and being able to support children to be self-regulating, but to be able to have those relationships that support them to regulate their emotions. We look at human development and human developmental needs. We think about Maslow, also Erickson. And we also look at the adaptive and the social brain, and it's very much about how we help children understand that psychoeducation. What's happening in my body and my brain when I'm feeling different feelings, and then how do I learn to manage those experiences? We look very much at the social environment, and adverse and childhood experiences really does underpin what's needed and whether developmental needs are missing in order that we really have securely ensured that we are really building children's social emotional development through these programs. And again, we are very much basing this around emotional literacy development, social group development as well, and how the real peer group experiences are very vital. We have begun to get more research using the University of Bath research programs to see that actually we are enabling children to develop greater skill base from learning from their peer group. And this is a really powerful part of the whole Hamish and Milo experience. One of the other tools that we have available on our website, as well as in our hub, is our Compass Emotional Literacy Skills Profiling tool. It's really a way of you deciding which might be the best group or the best theme for a particular child to take part in. Sometimes a child might present with friendship difficulties, so it feels obvious they need a friendship group. But sometimes it might be friendship as well as low self-esteem. It might be anxiety. And you think, which one do I start with? Well, in many ways, you can't necessarily go wrong because all of those kind of programs are standalone, but they also interweave and build on each other too. But what we are able to do through Compass is give you a quick checklist which you can fill in, which then will identify some key areas where children are still developing those skills or where they're at a stage of mastering. And then we look for the lowest denominator, and then that will lead us to a particular program, or it will give a suggestion. And of course, you use your professional judgment as well as the scoring system that we have that identifies perhaps a child needs Amazing Me as the first program, or perhaps Calm Me. So it's very much a tool to support you in making sure that children have the best opportunity. All of our program is very much based on the key development skills, the Goleman's skills of self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And what you will absolutely see is how each of the programs really build on and develop these core competencies. But at Hamish and Milo, we absolutely know that it's really important that we have these first three elements in place first before we can ever begin to learn the social emotional skills. We have to have self-regulated adults that are calm, that are co-regulated themselves, that are able to respond and to support children wherever they are at, and to really develop that real key relationship. So establishing emotional safety, connection, attachment, relationship is fundamental. And we begin this right at the beginning. Children need to feel safe with us, with adults that feel secure and safe and regulated themselves, to build that connection, to enable children to have the capacity to even begin to develop that learning. And then we know that children only begin to be able to self-regulate if they've had enough experience of being co-regulated by a key adult, a significant trusted adult. So we want children to have that experience that any emotion, big or small, that they bring is supported, responded to, soothed and calmed, and that we can hold them through those experiences. So by building that relationship and having that as the core at the beginning of any of our programs, we then know we're equipping our staff and our children with the best opportunity to learn those social emotional skills. There's more information about this on our website too, so please do have a look and find out more about the theoretical framework and also the social emotional skill development pathway. Just to highlight again that every single one of our lesson plans is very detailed but follows a very progressive structure, and also that structure enables it to feel safe, that for the adults they know what's coming, they know the order, and they know how each session pans out. And of course that's the same for the children. So each session card will have a welcome and a check-in, and we often do that with the sock puppet pets. We then have what we term as the focus moment. So it might be a quick activity, a quick discussion, or a game that helps the children think about the theme of the day. Our insight focus, the section of the card which talks about some of the kind of the psychoeducation, is written for the adults to be able to think about, this is what I need to help the children understand, or perhaps I need to guide the conversation about this part of the brain. So it really gives a deeper level of information to support the adults to feel confident in delivering the programme. On each card, there is an activity. It's usually very creative, expressive, a task to really enable them to begin to consolidate their thinking, to have other conversation with their peers, and to start to develop that reflection too through doing an activity. And then there is time for reflection at the end as well, which we use the wellbeing journals to enable the children to think about, what have I learned today? What's the key thing that's important for me through doing the session today? And just an opportunity to help children really use those reflection skills that they can come back to time and again. Our sock puppet pets are a real incredible feature of Hamish and Milo, and I don't think we ever realised they would be quite as magical as they are. They are very much about creating fun, spontaneity, playfulness, and that's why we encourage the adults to make a sock puppet pet too, because the children get so drawn in when they are part of that experience with an adult leading that. They're of course very therapeutic as well, because we do get children telling us what's happened to the puppet or telling us how the puppet's feeling, which of course resonates so deeply with them. And that really does give us an insight into their inner world, and sometimes even safeguarding elements do come up, so we need to make sure our safeguarding protocols are very firmly in place. So we do know, and this is some of the research that we found through the University of Bath studies, that children are really beginning to verbalise things that they would never have verbalised before. And it is the small group environment that's enabling them to feel safe enough to speak to us and to share their voice through the puppets and through the group experience. I've already highlighted that we have parent leaflets, and these are very much an important part to enable parents to feel that they are involved, that they have a little bit of understanding about the language and about the session plans. And it does show what we're going to do each week and what they might like to do and say to support their children. So it's very much about bringing that partnership together. The wellbeing profiles, as I've said, are very much about that impact measurement. It's really about showing the presenting behaviours and what might be those underlying needs. It then gives us a real insight into what those children need to develop in order to become more competent and safe within those emotional experiences. This is very much a tool that can be used as part of a graduated response to be able to use in review meetings, PEP meetings, and even applications for EHCPs and the provision that entails. So it's a very useful measure that's done pre and post. We have now created Navigator, which is a way of taking that paper form into a digital dashboard and a digital profiling tool. This we developed with the University of Bath and really looks at really secure, meaningful data using SDQs, the Strengths and Difficulties questionnaires, as well as our wellbeing profiles, as well as child voice questionnaires too, so that we have a triage of really collating what is the difference that Hamish and Milo is making for individual children. And we can absolutely look at this at trust level, at school level, at group level, and individual child level. So it really does give us a way to show and to drill down to really look at the impact for specific children across your setting. We absolutely now have a way of individual reporting as well. So schools are able to download a report for an individual child, which then can of course be shared multidisciplinary through meetings where other professionals need to have an awareness as well, and are often used as a very strong indicator of shift and change and to measure impact. We have a resource hub. Schools have access to this through the website. Anything additional that you might need in order to run any one of our 10 programs is all held within the hub. So we have additional resources you can download, such as posters, templates, champion planning journals, so that you have a means at your fingertips to be able to jot ideas and thoughts of how each session's going. We absolutely have additional resources such as suggested reading lists. We have templates, photographs where you might need some photographs to stimulate discussion, scenarios. So anything you need is very much within that hub. So it's a real resource in its own right. We have developed now also an online version of Hamish and Milo. The boxes are very lovely to have at your fingertips, and many of us like to have the actual boxes and the resources right next to us, but some of us are moving into a more digital way of working, and so Hamish and Milo online enables schools to have access through an iPad, to be able to have easy access to all of the session plans and all of the planning tools, the hub. So of course it's a time-saving way of being able to have all of the resources at your fingertips, and we've very clearly directly linked it to the PSHE outcomes as well, so that you can really start to cross-reference and see how Hamish and Milo sits within your curriculum. So this is an addition that you might like to have a look at further on our website. We know that partnership with parents is absolutely vital, and our Families Together programme is a new addition now, which we are very excited about. We've piloted this within a school in Bristol and had incredible results. It is a 10-week programme which follows each of the themes, with groups of parents where their children have already taken part or are taking part in a Hamish and Milo theme. The children are part of the sessions, so there is a real opportunity to develop relationships between parents and their children, and just having that extra time is sometimes so vital. So the programme itself starts off with giving insight to the parents. It's an opportunity for networking, and then the children come and join, and they do a family activity in order to develop the awareness around those key emotion themes. And we really are starting now to see greater evidence underpinning this, which really is showing that if we provide a series of group-based workshops for parents, sometimes with separate activities for children, it can be effective for a range of outcomes, including academic attainment, other learning outcomes, and aspects of children's social emotional development. And this is very much the research that we're starting to see in theory from when we used this as our pilot project. So again, further information is on our website about Families Together, and we would be delighted to support schools to develop this within their settings. And finally, we have been absolutely delighted to create our own Level 3 accredited training programme. Hamish and Milo Voyager, which is a Wellbeing in Education Award, is accredited through NCFE. So it is a national recognised programme and course. It's for 5 days, spread across a term, and it is relevant for anyone that is using Hamish and Milo in their school. So TAs, ELSAs, pastoral leads, any Hamish and Milo champion that would like to gather and gain a much deeper base around the theoretical underpinnings of early childhood development, mental health, and the key concepts that we incorporate within Hamish and Milo programs. So it is a detailed course and is a certification. So we would love to welcome you to join our courses that at the moment are running termly. So please do again have a look at our website for Voyager and see about putting in an application for your staff. That is the kind of summary, really, of Hamish and Milo, our discovery session, which I think just gives you an insight into the whole range of what our resources are able to offer. We really hope that you will visit our website, hamishandmilo.org, and if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We would love to talk to you and see if there's a way that we can support you. Thank you very much.